like to welcome our, I think, a founding member and probably our first club president, if I'm not mistaken, yeah. A longtime member of Toastmasters and also someone who inspires us all the time. Please help me welcome Mark Thompson.
Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters.
Good afternoon.
One more time. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters.
Good afternoon.
That's what it's about. It's about energy. And I am honored to be here today to speak to you. Yesterday, I'm at work and I'm thinking to myself, well, what is a good topic to talk about? And I was at a blank. And I'll be honest with you, fellow Toastmasters, I watch a lot of politics. And in watching a lot of politics, I hear a lot of terms. And maybe you do as well. You hear, TPP, you hear fracking, you hear all these different terms. And honestly, fellow Toastmasters, many of the terms I didn't know. And I thought to myself, I want to be a more informed voter and not assume what channel CBS or NBC is telling me is the full story. So I thought to myself, I'm going to start, at least having a working knowledge of topics that I come in contact with or that I hear about. So when someone says fracking, I have a working knowledge of what fracking is. And maybe many of you have heard of what fracking is. Well, today, fellow Toastmasters, I'm going to talk to you about fracking. And this is just something recently that I learned, actually just the other day. Went on YouTube and just kind of got a working knowledge of what it is. So when someone says the term again, I have something that I can kind of, pull from in my reservoir. Now, I have my TV over here, which I had some pictures, but for some reason, it's not working well. You know how it is. Many times we have technical difficulties. So we're going to go straight old school with just the handouts. We're just going to roll with the handouts. Now, again, by a show of hands, how many of you know what fracking is? And let me just say this before you raise your hands, okay? If you don't know, it's okay, because I didn't know. So that's why we are here to learn. And here a few weeks ago, I said to members, many times we may have to give a speech that's 80% prepared and give it, as opposed to making it perfect and never giving it. Fellow Toastmasters, today we are at about 50% prepared. But I'm here and I'm ready to share what little knowledge that I have or general knowledge I have about fracking. So when someone says it, you go, okay, I kind of have an idea. But my goal today is don't just take my word for it. I want all of us to create some curiosity and go, you know what, Mark said this. I'm going to go and make sure and grow my knowledge on that. Again, so we are more informed voters and more informed citizens. Now, fracking. Now, we've heard the term. It stands for hydraulic fracturing. I should write it up on the board, but I'm sure that's what it stands for, hydraulic fracturing. And what that really means, in essence, is that it is a process where we fracture shale or rock that's at an elevation of about 7,000 feet below sea level. So that's really what it is. And I want you to look at the diagram here, because I'm going to kind of refer to this main one for the most part. In essence, and again, I'm just going to kind of go through this real quick process. So again, so we have just some working knowledge on what fracking is. And obviously we have to, the oil companies have to have permits to do this drilling as far as fracking is concerned. So they get the permits. And pretty much they begin the drilling process. Now, as you look at this diagram, I want you to kind of focus in on that kind of, how can I say this little area right here where it first begins. If you notice, that little area starts off wider, and it gets more narrow and then more narrow. See what they do when they first start drilling, they use a larger bit. Drill down, and the goal is to drill down past the water layer. Okay, so we make sure we want to protect that. So they drill down past that. They put what they call like a sleeve or a pipe in that, and they inject concrete. And if you notice on the sides, there is concrete. And they want to protect that layer so we don't get any seepage into our water layer. And if you notice, there are like 3 steps. So there's a wider layer, you do the same thing, inject concrete around this kind of a cylinder, and they do that one more time to protect that whole layer. Now that's about, I'd say, no more than about 1,000 feet down, approximately 1,000 feet down. Well, after they finish that process, they keep drilling. They drill, down to about somewhere between 6,000 to 8,000 feet. And then the drill bit makes a kind of a left turn. That's what you see down there at the bottom. So it continues to make that left turn. Now it's in that shale formation that's probably about 7,000 feet. And really it's just rock for the most part. And really the goal of this hydraulic fracturing is to extract natural gas and oils out of this shale rock. Now typically before we would just drill down into like a pocket of oil and then suck it out like a straw. Well, it's not that easy anymore. So now this process, they've come to find out, is also profitable as well, where they drill down in this shell and they're going to extract the oil out of this rock that's well below sea level. So again, we're drilling down. Drill goes all the way approximately about 4,000 feet. So where it makes that left turn, we're about 4,000 feet. Okay? Pull the drill bit out of there, and then they put something in the pipe. It's called a perforating tool. Okay, so it's in this portion at the bottom here. Sorry about that. At the very bottom, it's a they inject this perforating tool, and what it does is it has small charges of explosive that explode and kind of break the rock for the most part, up and down. So it has like little cracks in it. And they do that in segments of that horizontal pipe. So once they're all done with that, making those cracks in that pipe, pull the drill bits out, and then they remove all of the drilling equipment. And then they begin to inject what they call fracking fluid. Now, there's water, sand, acids, there's all kinds of things in this fracking fluid. They push it into the pipe, push it into these cracks, and these cracks grow, okay? And in these cracks are the oil and natural gas. So what they do is they pull out all this fracking material out of the hole, and the oil and natural gas come out, and then it can use that natural gas and oil. So the hydraulic fracturing is when they inject this hydraulic fluid into the rock and it cracks even more so we can extract it. Now, that's the general process. Now here's the concerns. Many states have reported higher increases of earthquakes in their states because of this fracture. There is a potential, let's flip to the last page because I'm getting short on time. If you notice to the right there, there's also potential of this fluid getting into our water, our drinking water aquifers, which for us, that's kind of a big deal. And once it gets into that fluid, you can't even treat the water at that point. It's very corrosive and dangerous, this fracking fluid. So, again, I'm just kind of giving the information out there so we know kind of what fracturing is and the process and the concerns, because we're dealing with drinking water and increased earthquakes. And again, I'm not saying to be for or against. It's up to you. I'm going to let you do your research. But that is a concern. You know, increased earthquakes are not a good thing. And if you have an earthquake, you don't know where this fluid is going to, or could end up, for the most part. So this is just my talk about, just to give you just, and myself too, a working knowledge on what hydraulic fracturing is. The Toastmasters. It's Toastmasters.